Hey everyone, welcome back. I want to tell you about the night I sat in a high-rise hotel room in Las Vegas, looking at a contract that would make me a multimillionaire and feeling absolutely sick to my stomach. I had spent my entire 20s chasing the dream. I was smart, calculated, and prided myself on being self-made. I didn't need anyone's advice, and I certainly didn't think I needed God. Religion seemed like a crutch for people who couldn't handle the real world. But that night, I realized that while I had gained the whole world, I had become a fool. I had all the information, but zero wisdom. This is a story about what happens when you build a life on the wrong foundation, and how one verse from Proverbs showed me that true knowledge doesn't start with an IQ score. By age 30, I had built a successful hedge fund. I was known for the edge, finding the angles everyone else missed. My philosophy was simple. Information is power. If you have the data, you win. I treated life like a giant math equation. People were variables, morality was a suggestion, and the fear of God was something from a bygone era that didn't apply to modern finance. I was about to sign a deal to acquire a struggling manufacturing company. The move was brilliant on paper. I'd strip the assets, sell off the real estate, and walk away with massive profit. My mentor said, "It's a bloodless move, kid. That's how you stay on top." I felt untouchable. I was the smartest guy in the room with the bank account to prove it. But that smartness was starting to feel very cold. I was successful, but increasingly anxious, paranoid, and lonely. I was building a massive house on sand. The night before signing, I went for a walk to clear my head. I ended up in a small park away from the neon lights and sat on a bench next to an old man reading a weathered book by streetlight. We started talking. He told me he'd been a schoolteacher for 40 years. He had nothing compared to my net worth, yet he had a peace I couldn't buy. "You look like a man carrying the world on his shoulders," he said. "I'm just making a big deal happen," I replied. "It's a smart move, high yield." He nodded and said, "There's a lot of smart people in this city, son, but not many wise ones. Smart people know how to get what they want. Wise people know if what they want is worth having." I scoffed and asked, "And where do you get that kind of wisdom?" He handed me his Bible, open to an underlined verse. "I started every school year with this," he said. "It's the one thing the smart world always forgets." Back in my hotel room, I read the verse he'd shown me, Proverbs 1:7. "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction." I stared at those words. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. My knowledge was built on a lie. I thought knowledge started with me, my brain, my effort, my data. But Scripture was saying true knowledge starts with humble recognition of who God is. To fear the Lord isn't about being terrified. It's about deep, holy respect for the Creator. It's acknowledging there is ultimate authority, ultimate truth, and an ultimate judge. Because I didn't fear God, I had no moral compass. I was willing to ruin workers' lives at that manufacturing plant because I didn't believe I was accountable to anyone but myself. I was the fool the verse described. I had despised instruction because I thought I was above it. My edge was actually arrogance, and my success was spiritual bankruptcy. The next morning, I walked into the boardroom. The lawyers had their pens ready. "I'm not signing," I said. Dead silence. My mentor looked like he'd seen a ghost. "What are you talking about? This is a $30 million win." "It's smart for my bank account," I said, "but foolish for my soul. We're not stripping this company. We're restructuring it, keeping the jobs and taking a lower margin to ensure the community survives." I lost my mentor that day, and some investors too. People called me soft, said I'd lost my edge, but for the first time in 10 years, I slept through the night. I started my days with Proverbs instead of the ticker tape. When you fear the Lord, you don't have to fear anything else. Not the market, not competitors, not the future. You start seeing people as souls to serve rather than assets to manage. My business actually grew, slower but deeper. I built a team based on trust and integrity rather than fear and greed. The beginning of knowledge isn't found in a spreadsheet. It's found on your knees. We live in an information age, but are starving for wisdom. We have more data than any generation in history, yet we're more lost than ever. Why? Because we've tried to have knowledge without the fear of the Lord. If you want to be truly wise, stop looking at your own reflection and start looking at the one who created you. Wisdom starts with humility, saying, "God, you are in charge and I am not." Thanks for watching. Here are today's reflection questions. Have you ever made a smart business or career move that left you feeling empty inside? What did that teach you about success? What would change in your life if you started each day seeking wisdom from God instead of just chasing information and results? Drop your thoughts about the story in the comments below. Your experience might encourage someone else facing the same choice. If this resonated with you, hit that like button, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more stories about finding true wisdom in a world that only values being smart. Thanks and shine.